already on YouTube.
You're on YouTube right now
Yep.
streaming? I'll record separately. You didn't have any trouble getting in?
No, I had to use the stream key instead of connecting account, but it's working.
Okay.
It's already live.
Did you change up the metadata at all? Can you do any of that? Like change the video title or anything just to see if you can.
Yeah, it just says live stream. I can edit it.
Okay, that's cool. It's good to see where my money's going.
The DDA concepts that we're going to do. I was kind of like a copy the library, but like we definitely. I want to go see it. Okay, look at you can't see that. That's so we she convinced me that I'll still do it. So two old ladies like, and then this was supposed to be, yeah. This was supposed to be. No, because we're just paying. Just do something modern that has a so here, I'll show you. Yeah, well, Amy kind of figured it all out. Yeah, so you want to see it shows you where it's the library, Township Hall is that one, here. So it's just to get, the hall of it. We keep that one done, I was like, I think it's, and that's where she's going to convince me to go into it.
Are you doing today elections or something?
No, that's the library. Township Hall, you get that back, the post office too. Isn't it? Yeah, exactly. So my friend was like, this is such a good town. And I'm like, all right, well, look for like that. I know. I'm like, this is so dark and weird. Because also they picked it because they like because it was like library. So she explained it everything. I'm like, okay, no. So, yeah, no, I know. I looked it up, but I read the whole thing. Yeah, the butterfly. Hey, who just like made, hey, yeah, who was like made something? Like they're trying to do research, right?
Yeah.
Do that, that would be good. Okay. No, I think that's beautiful. Not so orange, but the benefit.
It's okay.
No, it looks gorgeous. But it was just for that, like, oh, here. This is the footing, it's from the, that year. I was like, you know what, that's good enough,
We'll take.
load in your, putting up to the heaven, you know, kind of, I have to. Cause you can't really see very well, you know, so I went to look it up. So what's that, 1500? No, they're from,
Sorry for the delay. We're gonna call this meeting to order of the Lyon Township Downtown Development Authority, on Tuesday, February 10th, 2026 at 6:02. If we can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I actually had a volunteer for our mission statement, Mike.
Oh, yeah, love to. Can we stand up or can you just read it?
Whatever you're most comfortable with.
Alright. So the mission of the Lyon Township DDA is to assist the public and private development efforts to stimulate residential, commercial, and industrial growth and create a vibrant community where people live, work, and play.
Thank you. And roll call, if we could just note that we are all in attendance. Oh, I lied. If we can take roll call. Yes, please.
Okay, Ms. Canfield,
Here.
Mr. Dolan,
Here.
it's gonna be rough with this name, so, Alyssa?
Here, yeah, Gezi.
Mike, yes?
Casey, here.
Casey, and then, John Paycheck?
Paycheck, yeah.
Paycheck, Paul Ruffin?
Yep. Here.
And, am I pronouncing that right?
I don't know.
Oh, no, just the way it's on, okay. I'm missing.
All right, so the next item on the agenda is approval of the consent agenda, which would include minutes from December and from December and January.
In reviewing the minutes, they are not complete. There was a discussion of project flex in that meeting, so, I, would like to see that addition made to the minutes, and I think we just need a discussion of how we will be moving forward with minutes.
I would make a recommendation to pull the minutes from the consent agenda and add it to discussion at the end, towards the rest, the end of the agenda, so we can discuss what you specifically want.
Okay.
So just kind of just pull it from the agenda and add it to discussion.
Do we need a motion for that?
Yeah.
So I'd like to make, well, actually, can we,
can do it.
can we pull it with, just take the whole minutes and the consent agenda? Just put all of that to,
Discussion.
what is it?
Discussion
At,
for point 11.
is 11,
It'll be under 12, the
12.
items to be pulled.
okay. Oh, okay, perfect, yeah, it's already there, so, both the minutes and the consent agenda move to 12. Thank you. just want to announce to the public that per our, you're approving the agenda? Okay, we need a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I will make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Now, to announcements. I just wanna announce to the public, that per our agenda, that public comment, is allowed up to 2 minutes per address. Please come up to the microphone, state your name and address. And that it is public comment and it's not Q&A, so the board will not be able to reply to you. Any other announcements? Okay, so now, we do have a 2-minute time and we'd like to open it up to the public.
My name is Kelly Sullivan. I live in New Hudson and Fortress of Lyon. I volunteer on the DDA for the Design and Appearance Committee, and I was also one of the residents who helped to review the TIF plan for Oakland County for reauthorization. And based on those 2 experiences, I can tell you that Project Flex in no way fits within the vision of the master plan of this township. The DDA didn't know about the project until it was already a done deal. Especially when a member of the DDA board is affiliated with Wellbridge. I feel that's a conflict of interest. The TIF plan was approved in May of 2025. The TIF plan sets forth projects for which the DDA is going to ask to recover funding, tax funding from the county. Specifically within that TIF plan, there's funding for the new Hudson Drain as a major dollar amount for the TIF plan. It seems pretty obvious in reading the Project Flex plan that paying for the new Hudson Drain appears to have been a carrot that was dangled to have that be more amenable for the township to approve. I feel that not only is it a lack of transparency, but as somebody who sat in all those meetings to review the TIF plan, I feel it's almost bordering on fraud that we asked for tax reimbursement from the county to pay for something that it appears that there were already discussions in the works to pay for. I really do feel the DDA should use whatever authority it has as a governmental authority that oversees the project on which, the property on which this is being developed, to pause it. They have the duty to help make recommendations for development within the DDA property line. Another request that I make is that because of that conflict of interest, Wallbridge does not have any employees on any township boards or commissions, including the DDA. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Frank Sartaglia. I'm off of Martindale Drive. This is a follow-up to the previous speaker. So under Michigan Freedom Information Act, as well as Michigan Open Meetings Act, I feel that the lack of transparency that this board and the Planning Commission has had over the several months that we have known about the Project Flex has been growing and mounting. So my request, and it's a legal request, is that this committee and board provide the residents, whether it's on the webpage or wherever it may be, the financial impact studies, tax revenue projections, internal communications regarding finances, correspondence between developers regarding incentives and abatements, and you just heard one previously, and a draft of the development agreements. So there's a lot of information that's been lacking over the last several weeks and or months. We need to do a better job of understanding what we're getting into. And right now, there is nothing that says, you know, how much is this worth, how much is Project Flex worth to this community? We understand the risks. Risks are quite great. So the action item going forward is, and I submitted this to Ms. Talladega, by the way, so she has a electronic copy of it. release all existing financial documents related to Project Flex in compliance with FOIA, laws, confirm in writing if no financial analysis has been conducted, the commission, an independent fiscal impact study before any further approvals or votes take place, and provide all financial materials to the public prior to any future planning commissions or board deliberations regarding this project. I feel it's absolutely necessary that we understand what we're getting into, as we move forward. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jeff Barker. I have been a resident of New Hudson since 2007. Like many others in the last month or so, I have a lot of reservations about this Project Flex. Just from the initial naming of the project, I think that was, although they said it was how they do it, just assign these nicknames to initiatives or projects. I think given the gravity and scope of this project, it was disingenuous to say Project Flex. It should have been South Lyon New Hudson Data Center. I think it would have generated a requisite amount of attention and concern. So I think that given everything that I've heard, I've gone to all the meetings for the last month. I wasn't aware of what was going on in December. I've attended all the meetings, and I think it's fair to say there's been quite a bit of resistance among the citizens. I think that whether it is the DDA or the township, I think one of the most basic aspects of government is to look after the well-being of the citizens and to provide safe living conditions, and really not engage in any situations that would endanger that. I would therefore recommend that at a minimum, I think that the DDA and the township should put a moratorium on considering this. I would say for at least 2 years. I know that people have mentioned specific types of studies. We had a couple of really nice statements from a sound engineer at Ford, an electrical engineer spoke, and I think these are people with a great degree of credibility, and then also have expertise in these areas. And I really think that these recommendations need to be followed. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Robin Emico, and I am a long-time resident in South Lyon. I will be 1.5 miles from the data center, so this concerns me also. And I thank you for listening to my comments. And my comments concern the obsolescence of this proposed data center. And this is from PC Magazine, February 3rd and 4th, written by Michael Kahn. Okay, at the end of January, Elon Musk submitted an application to the FCC for 1 million satellites to be used for data centers. Currently, there have a total of 14,500 satellites in all that we have right now. Several days later, the FCC allowed public comments on this application. Typically, this process takes weeks to months. Additionally, SpaceX is preparing an IPO that's expected to raise as much as $50 billion in an effort to fund orbital data centers. Tim Farrar, satellite industry analyst, believes that 1,000 data center satellites could be in orbit by the end of 2028. And Musk commented recently, "My estimate is that within 2 to 3 years, the lowest cost way to generate AI compute will be in space. This cost efficiency alone will enable innovative companies to forge ahead in training their AI models and processing data at unprecedented speeds and scales, accelerating breakthroughs in our understanding of physics, invention of technologies to benefit humanity." So, anyways, with satellites for AI data centers on the near horizon, how long can we expect any data center on Earth to be active? How long can we expect a data center in Lyon Township to be active? What considerations are in place for obsolescence of a BMS piece of cement? Who will be paying for redevelopment of this area in a few years? Are we demanding that Ferris include plans for its replacement or redevelopment in the near future? Given the location of this particular project, it would be a shame to lose this property to a near obsolete industry when it could be better used for residential, light commercial, or very light, small industry. Thank you very much.
Hello there, my name is Angel Osborne, and I am going to be a new resident in South Lyon this week, in fact. My family and I are new to this community, and I plan on using my voice to stand up for our rights to have safe water and not make billionaire corporations make us fund their CSAM machines. The Internet with Watch Foundation shows that child sexual assault material has been on the rise 26,362% since these AI data centers have been available to the public. Any child posted on social media is used in its data set. So I asked to keep this in mind of what you are wanting to do and put into this community that, from what I have wonderfully gathered, is very much for family. So I just want to put that onto your docket to know that it is more than just energy, it is more than just safe water, it is the livelihood of children's safety. Thank you.
Speaking of children, Elsa's here to join us.
Hi, my name is Leanne. I also recently moved here to Lyon Township. Me and my husband purchased. Sorry, the last time I was at one of these meetings, I was escorted out by 4 Oakland County sheriffs, and I'm like shaking. Yeah, just take a.
Got it.
Me and my family moved here for a dream. We invested in our property. We bought 9 acres. We bought a barn. We bought goats. We had a vision. We looked at the master plan, right? We did our research. Not even a day after I moved in, I found out Paul Elko was looking to develop right next to me. Came to the township, talked to you about it. You know, Paul Elko works with my husband, and he called my husband not even 48 hours after our phone call to let my husband know that you had called him to say that his wife was at the township. That right there told me how this township was going to serve me. A member of the board called the developer to let him know what a resident was complaining about.
Shady.
That was a hard pill to swallow. Next, Catholic Central bought the property next to me, 170 acres. They have been communicating with me. Again, looks as agricultural in the master plan. They want to put in 2 ice arenas.
Yeah.
They bought my neighbor's house because they're going to put a road through it. They're trying to buy my house. Is any of this public knowledge? No. But when I talk to the people in the deal, they're letting me know this is the plan, already signed off on. Now I've got a data center 1.5 miles from my house. My property value has declined significantly. We are hunters. My sons, those are the goals I wanted to teach them. 4-H club. How am I supposed to do that surrounded by astronomical development? And the property value study that was provided to us by Varys from George Mason University was a small, tiny little study in one location. It was a correlation, which we know is not causation. It was disgusting to use that as, hey, your values are going to increase. That's insulting. We know they're not. Look at Illinois. Their homes are getting bought up all around the data center because they are no longer valuable to people to live in, but they're more valuable to the data centers. I'm asking you guys to please look at your residents. We are people. We are asking for a conversation, a real conversation. I'm sick of the backdoor dealing. Everybody talks, all these developers are talking, we know what they're saying, it's not a secret, so just talk to us, please.
Mark Spencer, resident of Lyon Township for 13 years, first time here, so thanks for having me. Understood that this is conditionally approved. I'm pleading to you, as are your residents, your constituents, the people that put trust in each and every one of you, from an ethical, a legal, and from a safety perspective. Look after us, we're looking after you. Make sure that these conditions are really fully met, and if not, these are the levers to be able to pull and make sure that it is done right by this community, not by a big company. Take into consideration the ethics that you each have, the morals that you should apply to every decision of your life. Help us. Understand where your vote is at. Make sure that the peer next to you is working in an ethical manner and in the light of what is right for this community. I didn't prepare anything, if you can't notice, I'm just kind of tripping along, but please fight back. Look around the other neighboring communities. What have they all done? Thank you. I understand we can't do a moratorium on this exact project. Please consider passing one for any future ask for at least 1 year, if not longer. We have to understand what these are. Please consider also reevaluation of the consultants that are feeding misinformation to this company, to this town. Because there's one person, unfortunately, that's consistent across all the boards that I've been to in the last 1.5 weeks. One. Thank you.
Hi, Matt. First time at the DDA as well. One thing I haven't heard mentioned tonight, because I wasn't planning on coming up, but it hasn't been mentioned yet. We know that Varus at the study session, mentioned that they currently have not applied for tax abatements. In November of 2025, it was mentioned at the Board of Trustees that tax abatements are going to be back in conversation because we don't have skin in the game. I know that the DDA is going to be part of putting that proposal together, and I'm asking that you do not consider reopening up tax abatements for projects, especially those with a $250 million threshold, which is specifically the exact threshold that has been approved for the state of Michigan for data centers. So I'm asking today as a resident specifically, let's not talk about tax abatements. Let that door be closed. Thank you very much.
Are there any more comments? All right, thank you all. Mike? Do you have to close public comment officially?
No, it's not a public hearing.
Okay.
Move on.
All right, if we can go on to the report from Mike.
All right, thank you. So, here to report on, 3 projects that, our firm has been working on for, the township. The first is, the Hawk Signal. As you may recall, we prepared plans last year, bid the project in the fall, or, no, excuse me, bid the project in the spring. And, the construction, was not delayed, but it took, 36 weeks or so to get the steel for the mast arm fabricated and whatnot. And so that work will commence in the spring, once the frost laws or the seasonal weight restrictions are over. We've also been working to, prepare the proposal for the New Hudson Road abandonment. And, we put that together, we worked with our surveyors, and, we'll be submitting that to the executive director of the DDA here pretty soon to go through the replatting process associated with the supervisor's plat of New Hudson up there, at the New Hudson Road area that's northeasterly of, the 6 Points intersection. And then, we've continue our work on the Southeast Ring Road project, formerly known as New Hudson Drive. So we've done, several things since the last time I was here to report on that. The Part 301 permit that we submitted to Eagle is temporarily on hold with them. We need to, or they need to, look at the wetland delineation work that was done. The last wetland delineation is, well, it's older than 3 years, so they've agreed to walk the site in the spring and, see if the wetland delineation that we have is still adequate. So they'll probably do that work for us, once the snow is gone. We also need to obtain new flow determination values for the New Hudson Drain. Those are older than a year, and so Eagle is working to recompute those. We don't expect there to be much change, but it's a procedural process. And then there's, coordination with other projects in the area that, Eagle is taking a look at. So we've also completed the draft of the contract documents, that will be used when the project actually goes to construction, so that work is done. And, we are also waiting to receive comments from the Road Commission of Oakland County and the Oakland County Water Resources Commission. We submitted, final plans to them, before Christmas. And,
Mike,
so we're.
Are you talking about the drain, or are you talking about the road?
No, I'm talking about the road.
Okay.
But the road crosses the New Hudson Drain in 2 places, and so we need to get, the project needs to get a drain use permit for the 2 culverts that will cross, over by the Rorschach property and then in the area of the Huron Valley Trail. So we're waiting on, plan review comments from those folks. We've made it through the HUD funding process, and, the grant is formally approved in what's known as DRGR. That's the portal that HUD uses, for reimbursement and other, project activities like that. And so we'll be working with the DDA, the executive director, and, some of the staff at the township offices to begin the process of, submitting invoices for, what's known as soft costs, the engineering fees that are eligible for reimbursement. And those kind of costs after March 9th, 2024 are eligible. So again, in a couple weeks, we'll have the package of all the invoices put together, work with, Rebecca and others to get that information put into DRGR, and then the, reimbursement can begin. And then, as you all know, right-of-way acquisition is ongoing, and, I guess that's about it for the project. So the plans are virtually done, which kind of, we're in the final stages of, completing the work on that project.
Can I just ask for one additional update?
Yes.
I apologize. Just so you're aware, another scope that we've had to be dealing with in the last couple of months for the Ring Road project was, utility relocation.
All right.
So I don't know if you wanna just touch base with that to explain to them what we're
Yeah.
getting done.
Okay, yeah, so, as part of the design, there's a couple of areas where there's, I would characterize minor utility conflicts. So one of them is, on Costello Drive, right over there south of, the Costello Sand and Gravel, where the proposed road will cross, where the proposed road will cross the southeast ring road, there's an existing 2-inch gas main along Costello that services all of Costello and the existing businesses to the south. That pipe is in conflict with the proposed storm sewer. So we've been working with Consumers Energy to, have them locate and tone out the location of the gas main. And then we put that on our drawings. And so we are working with Consumers to have them develop a plan to relocate their utility. That work will have to be done as part of the project's construction, or it probably is best done, is a better way to say it, as part of the project's construction, so that they can get their pipe out of the way, we can put our storm sewer in, and then we can, they'll be able to understand precisely where the new pipe is. Because one of the last things we wanna see happen is to have to relocate the relocated utility because it didn't get put in the right spot. And then there's another, relatively minor conflict that has to be dealt with, though, is, over on the Allen property, there are overhead utility, electric lines that run through the back of the Allen parcel. And those are at an elevation that are not going to be high enough over the proposed road. And so what we'll have to do is work with DTE to have new poles installed and have the cables raised an appropriate height, which I believe is 23 feet over the top of the road. And again, that's another, piece of work and or coordination, depending on how you wanna look at it, that would be done kind of concurrently with the road project when it moves forward. Both of those utilities are in private easements, and so it would probably be necessary, that'd probably be an expense that the project would bear to relocate the gas main and the overhead power lines.
You're saying we are going to?
That would be a project expense, so the project, because again, they're in a private easement, they have the right to be there, as opposed to being like in the public road right away, where the road commission of Oakland County could say, your poles are in our way, you need to move them to another spot, kind of like we're doing on Martindale Road right now. So, yeah, those are two, the two pieces of the two utilities that need to be relocated. Again, like relocating, the gas main is 2 inches plastic. Those are quite easily moved, a few days worth of work. And the same thing with power poles, they will relocate, or put in new taller poles and, get the cables raised up above the road so that, semi trucks and other things can drive underneath it without snagging them.
So Mike, I think this is in similar line to our questions that we had, Leslie bring us back some more detail on in our December meeting. We went back and asked for some budgetary, because I think this project has predated most of us here. Going back to 2017. We had just a few minutes during that meeting to review these, and as I continued to look at them after the fact, I think the initial, overall, and I'm not gonna hold you to this, because I have a piece of paper in front of me from Leslie that you don't. But the initial project, I think the scope was listed around $333,000. And up to date, it looks like, based on what Leslie updated us with, we're at approximately $695,000.
Correct.
With currently, as we're discussing it, there's even more to come. So we're nowhere even near the end of this project, and we're currently 111% beyond what was initially budgeted. Understanding there were some stops and starts in that Leslie spoke to last year. From my perspective, as I'm reviewing these, and if I were a, private contractor and I bid a job at a certain amount and I'm 111% over budget, I would have a lot more explaining I would have to do. Which would lead me to me asking my fellow board members here, that I believe that we need to put a hold on some of the funds that are being released to CES until we can conduct a full 10-year audit of projects that have been completed to the DDA. That would include the original project scope, the budgeted amount, and what the end project goal was, what we ended up paying, and what the deliverables and outcomes were. And I would make that as a motion for our board here to consider, that we do a full evaluation of what's happening here with our relationship DDA to CES. Cause we are being held, we're stewards to our taxpayer dollars, and I don't think we're doing a great job.
Okay, well, do you want me to respond to that, or?
No, I think this is more for my board to respond to. I'd like to make a motion that we conduct a full 10-year audit of the CES projects, including the finances, the original budget scope, the outcomes, and, what our investment was in those projects.
I would second that. And I think to Mike's point is this is part of the transparency issue that we've been asking for, is that, you mentioned, there's a, let me write it down, you mentioned about having to relocate these utility lines, but you guys have been doing these plans since 2019, so this is the first I've heard of it, and I've been 5 years on the board. So I'm curious, is this a new discovery, or is this, I don't know, where did it come from, and why are we just hearing about relocating utility lines? Or are you just more thorough in your notes than Leslie?
Well, I'd like to think I'm thorough, but I guess to kind of allay some of the fears, I mean, the scope of the project has changed. It's true that the road is in the same spot, but there's been several issues that have arisen, and we at CES are more than happy to sit down with all you folks and go through the plans, all the invoices, everything that we've done. There's nothing to hide, period. We've been very transparent. We've always submitted the invoices. They've always been reviewed, and so we're more than happy to discuss this at any length and at any amount of detail. I can answer, and Leslie can answer any question that you have, period.
And Mike, this isn't an accusation of wrongdoing or anything else. That's not what this stands for. This stands for us as a board doing our due diligence in the funds that are being allocated to the services that are being provided and the outcomes that are getting.
Absolutely, and we welcome that. And we're an open book, and whatever you need to know, we can answer. And, there's been no impropriety, there's been no, changes, there've been changes to the extent that we've added work and things have come up as the design has progressed. And so we stand ready to discuss that with anybody, anyone that members of the board, township board, DDA board, however you wanna do it. Leslie and I are more than happy to have those conversations. And, to go back to the utility relocation issue for a second, so, the storm sewer design has had to be updated several times based on the hydraulics associated with the new Hudson drain. The new Hudson drain hasn't been maintained in 70 years or more, to the best of my knowledge. And so the hydraulics are quite complicated, to say the least. We've had to move the storm sewer around a couple of different times to accommodate various issues. And with one of the latest iterations of the storm sewer relocation, it now happens that it conflicts with this small diameter plastic gas main. And then in terms of the overhead electric lines, and by the way, I should say, at Costello Drive as well, there are some, if you go out there, you'll notice there are some low-hanging lines that aren't well maintained by consumers and the cable TV folks out there that are just too low and they need to be raised.
Can those be buried?
Hmm?
Can you put those underground?
Well, yeah, they could be, but that, again, so we don't, I'm sorry.
Is that a bigger expense, or is that?
Yes, we don't control that. Overhead, okay, so without getting into too much detail, overhead utility lines are always cheaper than underground utility lines because you have to protect them and whatnot. And so, those lines are kind of, sagging and they're just in the way, and, they just have to be raised. With the lines nearer Milford Road at the Allen property, again, when we laid out the road and whatnot, I think it was with some of the work that I did related to the Allen property acquisition, it dawned on me, or I was, looked at that, and I'm like, wait a second, those power lines are potentially in the way, so we went out, retained our surveyor to shoot the elevation of those lines and compared it to the grades and realized that, they needed to be lowered. So, I believe, we're doing all this in advance and, forewarning folks as opposed to having kind of the change orders arise during construction. So, in my opinion, we are being, forward-thinking and transparent, and we're trying to do an excellent job.
So in that light, if I may, are we gonna have a public forum and discuss that delta with the maps and?
That's up to the DDA board. It's not something that.
Is that an agenda item that you guys are gonna put on in the future?
The delta of what?
There's 111%
Oh,
increase, right?
yes.
So whatever that is, needs to be discussed in an open forum. All y'all and any resident that wants to attend, understand what's going on and what happened.
So how does that
We
get
all
put
can
on the
engage.
agenda? What is that? Is that a separate meeting? Is that a?
I would say that you would probably schedule a special meeting or a workshop meeting, which would be open to the public to attend.
Mike, can you do some further clarification for me? So I just wanna understand, so all of the utility work that needs to be done, the cost will be part of what the DDA pays for the project? Everything,
Well,
all these, fixing all these lines and everything?
Well, when you say all of the utility work, that's kind of a.
Well, what you just described.
The addition,
The issues that you described will be issues that will need to be added to the project. And just trying to understand like this form we were given in December, so there will be this would fall under the additional services
No.
section?
No, that's an element of the project construction. We're not going to design the utility relocation, that's the responsibility of Consumers Energy or DTE.
Mhm.
What we will do is we will work to verify that when they relocate their utility, it's out of the way. That's not a cost that the DDA will bear, other than the fact that, we'll spend time working with DTE or consumers to verify that their plans are compatible with the proposed work.
Well, the additional services are the additional CES services, so you will spend more time doing it, so it will be.
Part of some of this is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, part of this is identifying the problems, and it's taking time on CES's behalf to identify some of these problems, so that when they put together the bid, they can specify this information in the bid. The actual construction or the work done to relocate those utilities would be in the construction portion, but we are accruing some charges from CES to determine what those triggers could be. So as Mike mentioned, later when it's already bid, that company that bid it doesn't charge us for a change order because they realize, oh, it wasn't in your bid, but this has to be done in order for this project to move forward.
But for the work that you're doing on this, it falls under additional services?
Correct.
Yes.
So there will be, okay, so that was what I asked. The answer is yes to the
So-
question, not no.
And I think it's.
And can we get estimates from you as to how much time it's going to take for you to do this, and so what we're needing moving forward is what is the cost for this additional service for you to determine this information?
Well, we can work with that, but like, we do not control what Consumers Energy does. We do not control what Detroit Edison does.
Question. I'm asking just, what is CES going to charge us? I'm not asking.
And that's what I'm trying to answer. It's like, I don't know. It all depends on how many times it takes to review their drawings to make sure they're correct.
So I think
Right,
the
but
question that Elisa's trying to ask here is, as these things are coming up, I think what we're looking for is, in your industry expertise, that you provide us an estimated amount of what this type of change order would take, so that we have a rough idea of what we should expect invoice-wise, versus this blank check that's just like, oh, well, I talked to CES to consumers for 6 hours. I think that's what we're trying to get to, and I understand there's a lot of change orders, and I would think that over 9 years, we'd be able to forecast some of these things.
Well, I think you're kind of mischaracterizing these as change orders. these are common issues that come up on projects of this nature. This isn't, out of the ordinary work. It's just what it takes to do an $8 or $9 million project, and we're working with the issues as they arise in good faith and in the best interest of Lyon Township.
Can I make a recommendation perhaps that the board could consider, is that we work with DES through this next month prior to our next meeting, and maybe come up with a best educated estimate on what they think some additional services are required based off of what they know right now, to give us a limit, so that we could set something forward saying, based on utilities relocation, we're approving some additional services charges not to exceed $10,000. Anything else would have to come back for additional approval and explanation.
And I think that would be a standing request going forward.
Yeah, and I also think too, 'cause something you said, Mike, and again, this isn't an accusation, it's just that we're just trying to flesh out all the information so we can make the best possible decisions for this community. And you had said, there's no improprieties, we submit all our invoices, they get reviewed and they get paid. There's a piece there, they don't get reviewed, they just get paid. So we are asking for review, and we're asking for, instead of just a submission of work that's already been done that requires payment, and I'm just gonna use the term nickel and diming, because at $10,000 and $15,000, I feel like we do that over and over and over again, and it just is like, oh, we have to, and this, we have to do a new wetland delineation because it's over 3 years old, and the new flow determination is over a year old. Well, we were applying for a new TIF 3 years ago. Why were we paying for this kind of stuff? We didn't know that. We had no idea that these projects were being done, and we didn't even know if we were gonna have the funding to do that. So I think that's what it comes down to, is we're trying to figure out, where's the money? And what are we actually paying for? And we didn't have the money 3 years ago, but now we have to redo this whole thing.
Well, you're not redoing it. What I said and what's going on is, and as Leslie, I believe, explained in December, was the project was, I've been with CES since September of 2021. The project has been stopped at 3 different times. And so we've been asked not to do anything. And so when that happens, we do that. And so, again, the wetland delineation, for example, it has an expiration date. That has, we didn't make the rule, we're dealing with what Eagle requires. And what I actually said is, because we have an excellent relationship with Eagle staff, we were able to talk to them and ask them to review the site and walk the site and determine if the existing wetland delineation still reflects what's out there. So we've been able.
But that costs money, right?
Well, we'll have to
pay
stake
them
out
to
the
do
center
that.
line of the road for them to walk it, because it's through the middle of the woods, but it's less money than it would be to do a new wetland delineation.
Sure, but it's still money. That's what I'm saying. It's like this trickling of money for all these things, and even if we have a $10,000 not to exceed limit, if we're doing 5 to 999, whatever it is, to 9,000 over and over and over again, that adds up. So I think we're just trying to figure out the line for us to make solid choices on.
Sure, absolutely, and as I said before.
Yeah, so I think we can hash out this with the motion that's on the table. So I'd like to go ahead, if we can reread the motion, please, so we can have a vote.
What's the motion?
We're gonna reread.
Oh, okay.
Well, see here.
Do you want Mike to do
Do
it?
you want me to restate the motion?
Yeah, because it seems like it got changed,
Yeah.
because you mentioned about a 10-year.
Okay, Mike will repeat.
Yeah, so the motion I put forward was that we do conduct a 10-year audit of CES as it relates to DDA projects. That would include the initial project scope, the initial budget, the project outcomes, and the actual invoice amounts for each one of those projects.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
on this topic, just, Amy, I don't remember, I thought I had a conversation with Deb and Amy, this is the piece of paper that we were given in December, and I thought it was supposed to be posted.
In the consent agenda, it's updated, so it's posted under the consent agenda item.
For this month?
For this month, yes, it's in the packets that are online.
It is, okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll move on to the report for the planners report, Ryan.
Good evening, DDA, thank you for having me this evening. Few items since we had last been at the DDA, in terms of the data center project, the portal did close on February 8th.
Speak up, please.
The portal did close on the evening of February 8th, so we're working with staff to compile the answers to those questions, send applicable questions to the applicant, and spread those to all of the consultants and reviewers, fire, things like that. We have not received the final site plan submittal from the applicant. Same thing, we have not received an updated sound study. So when those items get submitted, we will begin to review them. The township will be engaging a third-party reviewer for the sound study, so that can be reviewed. We're gonna be making sure that we have a thorough evaluation and compliance with all of the standards that would apply with that site plan. So, that is ongoing. When we get more information, when we get that final site plan, all that information will become available to the public. So at this point, we're waiting for more additional reviews.
So you're gonna wait for all the answers before you post any, or are you going to post the answers that you have?
I don't, sure.
Okay, we're working, staff internally, we're working on all of the questions that were submitted. Please keep in mind that there were over 1,000 questions that were submitted through the Slido, through public comments. Every one of the questions even brought up here tonight will be included on that. We understand that it would take a long time for all of that to get posted at the same, if we're waiting for everything. So there should be a notice going on our township website either tonight or tomorrow that will give some language discussing how we're gonna make those answers available. It's gonna take us, we're expecting approximately 2 weeks to get everything kind of categorized, whether they're talking about water issues, electricity, health and safety. So the goal is to categorize those questions and answers on the website, but we're expecting about 2 weeks to filter through some of them. And then as we collect answers, they'll be vetted through all of our consultants to ensure that we're giving out correct information, and they'll be posted periodically. So we're not gonna wait till we have everything and just do one information dump. We'll be posting them periodically, trying to go by categories. That's the intention right now.
And is it reasonable to expect that these answers will be provided to the community prior to any additional, I know there's some additional items that need to take place with the planning commission. Is it reasonable to expect that we get the community, we get these answers well prior to any next steps with the project?
Yes, I believe so. Yep. We're still in the waiting phase for the final site plan. It's gonna take a significant amount of time to vet all of the information, the independent sound study, all of those sorts of things are gonna take time. We wanna make sure all of the questions that we can answer from the public are answered before.
Understood, and I think just voicing, candidly, just voicing as one of the community, I think the concern there is, I think the plans for the initial project probably took some time too, and we're here now. So I think making sure that there's ample opportunity for our community to receive those answers, ask questions before anything else moves forward, I think that's a reasonable expectation.
So, with that, Mike, and considering what we've requested of McKenna, I would like to make a motion that we also do a 10-year audit for McKenna and the project.
Thank you.
I have a quick question. How are answers gonna be given if there's not a final site plan? How are we answering those questions? Or are we gonna wait until that plan comes in so you can answer the questions appropriately?
Yeah, if we can answer a question with the information that we have available, yes, we have to wait for the final site plan to answer those questions, yes.
Alright, we have a motion on the table.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Can you reread the motion?
The motion was, to request a 10-year audit for McKenna for the work and services that they've done, as well as the invoices that have been submitted and paid. I think that was my motion.
Any other updates from?
I do, yes, we've got a lot going on in the DDA district. Lombardo has continued to move forward with their.
Can you speak up, please?
Lombardo has continued to push forward with their proposal to redevelop Coyote Golf Course. At the December Planning Commission meeting, they proposed their final plan development, site plan. The Planning Commission reviewed that and recommended approval to the Township Board. So we have been working through with the attorneys, with the engineers, to review the plan development agreement and all of the final elements that need to be reviewed before that gets brought to the Township Board. When the Township Board reviews that project, assuming that they want to move forward with it, that's 2 readings, so they'll be in front of the board at least at 2 meetings. There has also been a proposal from Pulte for approximately 80 homes, it's a little over 80 homes on the property behind Kent Lake Elementary, on the west side of Kent Lake Road. That's a project that would, if it comes to fruition, would extend across township boundaries to Green Oak. So there's a ton of coordination that would happen between not only the 2 townships, but the 2 counties that project would span. So there's a lot to be considered there, but the Planning Commission did provide feedback on the concept. That's the first phase out of 6. So we do have that in front. The Township Board also had an opportunity to comment on that. You may have noticed that the landscape supply business on Grand River Avenue has a new operator, a family named Miller. They have been approved to reoccupy and continue that business. Devonshire, down at the southeast corner of the township, 8 Mile and Napier Road, the second phase, the developer asked to allow minor modifications to the architecture to allow a more modern townhome facade. That project was originated closing in on a decade ago, so it's been quite some time. So the architectural styles they wanted to update. The former Healthy Urgent Care site on Pontiac Trail, which is not in the DDA, but in terms of economic development, there was a special land use and site plan review proposal in front of the Planning Commission last night. They held a public hearing, recommended special land use approval for that drive-through restaurant, and conditionally approved the site plan to go with it. And then the last 2 updates on projects I have for you, Lyon Plaza, which is the outlot here behind the Jeep dealership next to Zeal. There was previously an approved 2-story multi-tenant building, could have been offices, retail, that was undefined, but the building had been approved previously. The owner chose to amend the site plan, and the result is a single-story multi-tenant building. That project was approved last night for site plan. And then there was also an addition to Nortec, which is one of the businesses on Research Drive. So they're going to essentially double the size of that facility for additional warehousing and operations there. So a lot going on in that regard. We are also working on a MISHDA, which is the housing development arm of the state of Michigan, issued grants, and we applied and won a grant for the township last year for a housing study, so that continues on. presented to the township board before it gets adopted, so. Excuse me, that's got a little ways to go. We're still in data collection mode for that study. That's about all I've got. Thank you.
I have a question. Brian, I was interested in your updates, cause I love knowing what's going on in and around Lyon Township and the DDA. And you've been coming monthly or almost monthly or sending Alexis, so thank you for doing that. I'm just curious because you also bring us information, not DDA related, but throughout the township. Why was the subject of the data center not brought before this board?
I don't have my written notes about the items that I presented to you previously. I present on every planning commission item that comes before them. I can't comment on if. I bring every project that the planning commission reviews and approves.
I mean, I think I have
As part of the update.
I have it all.
Well, we didn't even get that after it was approved.
Typically, you've been presenting a current or upcoming projects, and it seemed coincidental that you were absent from about June through December. And as your announcement was after the fact. That you typically are very transparent and open to us, and that did not.
Always very transparent to the board.
When
Any further?
No, I think, yeah, thank you, I think that answered my question.
Okay, Economic Vitality Committee, we are looking for a new chair. I am stepping down as chair and hoping that somebody could fill in and move the committee along. Faster, make some more progress with the committee. We do have a great group. I am more than willing to stay on the group, but I cannot chair anymore. And we did have a meeting today, but that was a joint meeting with design and appearance, so I'm not gonna steal his thunder. Any questions for Economic Vitality, or anyone want to step up to chair right now? Okay. Then we'll move on to promotions.
Okay, it's the fun stuff. We have finalized our concert series for the summer, so I wanna invite each and every person out to New Hudson United Methodist Church, Inspiration Park. So we have our series of concerts. The bands are going to be so amazing. I'm super excited about the lineup. We have food trucks, vendors coming, great family fun. It's awesome. The Oakland County Sheriff's come out. The fire department's there. It's just a whole community gathering. So please grab your families, come on out. We've got water slides and water games and a lot of kid play. So it's really just. It's Wednesdays from 6 to 8, every other Wednesday from 6 to 8. You can find all the events on Fun on the Grand. We also have Touch a Truck over at Lowe's, and that is, do you have the date? June 24th. Time? 11 to 2, super fun, also great family fun, kid friendly. And then other events that we have going on coming up a little later in the year, we have Do History on the Grand, we have Scarecrows on the Grand, Goodies on the Grand, which is our trunk or treat along, again, with our wonderful community partner, New Hudson United Methodist Church, and they do Holy Hallways. And then, of course, lighting up the Grand, and I don't wanna think about winter, but that's in December, so I think that's, and Lion Rocks is coming up, that's our, Earth Day. And so businesses have a rock painted for their businesses, and then they get planted, if you will, along the Huron Valley Trail. We'll have the trail marked, and then, so encouraging everybody to get out on the Huron Valley Trail and walk and hike and, just kind of get outside for Earth Day, find a rock and take it to the business, and you'll get a prize. I have 2 rocks still sitting out there somewhere from the last 2 years. So I should get an extra special prize for the person who actually brings that in. New Hudson Chiropractic is my business. So if you find a New Hudson Chiropractic rock, that's me. Bring it on in. Anything else?
I think that covered all.
Okay, great. So I will see you at the concert.
Perfect, any questions? All right, moving on to design and appearance.
Yeah, so as Krista mentioned, we had a meeting this afternoon. There were 8 of us, who, most of our meeting was spent reviewing our, what we call FIG application, which is our Facade Improvement Incentive Grant. So that has both, design and appearance, parts as well as business enhancement. I have no idea how long we've been doing this grant. Anybody know? 5 years?
Started before I got here.
Okay, yeah, it's been before most of us. We haven't had a lot of applicants recently. We did, our 2025 applicants that we,
Mission Church.
did was Mission Church's door, and we're waiting for Noble to finish their project in 2026. That will be exciting. Through the process of the applications of the last, year, there's just some challenges with our current application, which we discussed. So we will be doing some edits, updates, and then, after it's gone through planner and attorney review, we will be submitting something to the board for review to update it. But don't hold your breath. It's coming, but it's gonna take a few months. It's a lot of work. Also, we are doing that DIA, Detroit Institute of Art, project. There will be artwork from May through August around town, or around the township. So I know that we'll get some postings from social media on that. Okay, anything else in this? Those are, that's it for design and appearance.
Okay, the organizational committee, met this morning, myself, Dr. Paula, and Elisa met with our attorney, and we're just working, on cleaning up some transparency and getting, making sure that we're involved, along the way, in doing what we can in the DDA, doing more of what we can in the DDA and not just, signing off on bills after the fact. So we're just working to be more involved and have, more of an impact. Anything else you want to add to that? And now a township update, please.
Yeah, okay, so I have 2 major projects that have taken most of my time, and they are 2 super big ones. One is the last leg of the sewer plant, that it will be finished, we're hoping by sometime in September. It's a major upgrade, and also the water plant. These are my 2 projects that has taken most of my time. The softening project that we had at South Hill Well, we're hoping it's gonna be done by the end of May. And if we can get that done by the end of May, we will deliver the best water to the township you've ever seen. And it has been a long-term project, and we are working hard. Our other real downer was because of all the bad weather that we've had and all the ice, the salt. The salt has been scarce, and we've been having a hard time finding it for the DDA parking lots. We started out paying about $125 a yard. It was $375 a yard, and it's been very hard to come by. So we really, really welcome the warm weather. That's all I can say. That's been a hard thing to find.
You
Other
would
than
think
that,
in
it's just been
Michigan they
very
would know we
busy.
need salt.
What's that?
You would think in Michigan we would know we need salt in the winter time.
Boy, you think that we have salt, but it is very scarce and it is very expensive.
We're only sitting on a giant salt mine.
I don't get it, but it's been hard to find. It's very hard to find. Yeah. But again, I also offer, if anybody would like to take a tour of the South Hill plant, I sure would like to show you how it's coming along and where we're at, and I think you'd be pretty impressed with it. I'm real proud of it. Real proud of it.
Any questions for John? Okay, Amy, do you have a DDA?
Yep. Good evening, everyone. To go over some of my updates for you, I just wanted to make you aware, I left a couple of papers on everybody's, seats up there, just to have some additional information. So the Michigan Downtown Association has announced their spring conference that's going to be on Wednesday, March 4th. I included a copy of their schedule for trainings that day. I had not initially planned on attending that event unless there's specific reason that the town, or that the board would like me to attend, I can do that, but I didn't see specifically enough relevant sessions that I thought were needed at this time, considering that shortly after that I will be attending the Main Street America Conference, so I didn't wanna be gone too much in a short time frame. But if anybody is interested in attending on behalf of the DDA as a board member to attend and get some information and bring it back, please let me know. We have budgeted some additional funds in the training to allow for board members to take part in things like that throughout the year. So if somebody does have an interest, please let me know, because we need to get you registered within the next couple of weeks for that. So just reach out to me afterwards. Also, I had the opportunity to meet with the new owners of 56200 and 56230 Grand River Avenue, which are the two buildings on Grand River Avenue closest to Lyon Drive, which is where the old Roundabout Retail Shop was and where Kilo Sandwich Shop is. So the owners just closed on that purchase a few weeks ago. They're very excited about being located in our district. They have some big plans that they would like to move forward with for those two parcels. However, they think in the immediate future, for the next few years, it'll probably remain the current buildings with updates done to them, but they are open to possibly doing a new build there moving forward, depending on how business goes and how the interest goes. And they had an opportunity to meet with myself and the planner to talk about some details about what it would take to try to bring that parcel up to compliance, because currently it is a non-conforming area. So it was all good communication, and they actually wanted to reach out, and I'm going to be putting them in contact with our design and appearance committee, because they would like to be an incubator spot for a mural moving forward. So we are going to start looking in what we need to do to make that happen. So they will be talking with design and appearance shortly, and we'll be working with the township planner and legal to find out how we can make that project come to fruition, because we've been talking about it for a couple of years and finally have a location that wants to do it. Also, I had the opportunity, myself, our social media person, Angie, and the chair, Carissa, to stop by Noble Restaurant. We're excited to see all the progress that's happening. They are working hard towards obtaining their C of O, but they still do have a couple of steps that need to be approved before they can get that official C of O. They are still hoping for February. So I hate saying that every time, but they have had a lot of back orders on specialty items that have been ordered, and when you look inside of there, you'll know why so much of that is specialty orders. It's a really great looking facility. We tried to get some pictures, to put some teasers out, but they are very on lockdown. They want to be able to roll that out on social media when they're ready, which is completely understandable. So we stand here ready to help with any assistance we can when they're ready to make announcements and move forward. But they did say that they've had some really good luck with hiring. They're almost fully staffed there. They have a chef in-house that they're working with. So we're very excited to see that menu when they make it public for their opening. I also had the opportunity to attend, along with the board chair, the Interfaith Retail Conference. I believe it was last week. It was a morning session from 8 to 11:30. I had an opportunity to hear from local realtors, property owners, financial subsidiaries, and talk about just trends in the area. So we got some good information from that, some cards that were picked up, so we'll be passing that along, but it'll help us inform some decisions moving forward to hear about the trends that are taking place. Internally, we've been working as the organizational committee on getting our accreditation submitted for our Main Street America accreditation. I think we're almost finalized with that, so hopefully we'll get that submitted by the end of the month. Our organizational committee is also working on finalizing our fundraising brochure. We'd like to have that available and out to the printer by the end of the month. Actually, in my email inbox is an updated draft based on the feedback that we have from all of our organizational committee members. So that'll get sent out next week for one final review before we can go to print for that. So we'll be looking from assistance from all the board members to help distribute that and try to recruit some of those sponsorships from area businesses. As Paula was mentioning, we had Touch a Truck event that's coming up. We had our first committee meeting a couple weeks ago. I had the opportunity to meet the new store manager over there, Deborah. She seems like an amazing person. She's really excited to be involved in the community also and continue with that project. Steve Grant, who was the previous manager over there, was instrumental in initiating this project and helping us host it there. He's in talks to come back for the event to help us out. He's so involved in it, so we're very excited about it. But it means a lot that the new staff, the new manager over there is willing to continue with that project. So we're very excited about it. She did mention when we were meeting with her that they are looking forward in the next year to potentially develop the outlots in their parking lot. So traditionally, if you've been to one of our Touch a Truck events previously, you know that we host it in the northern part of their parking area. So there's talks about potentially doing some satellite locations for restaurants in those outlots. So it still hasn't gone through planning or been officially submitted, but that's just kind of what they're expecting to come down the pipeline. So we've been given notification that for 2027's event, we may have to look for a new location. I also had the opportunity to attend the Lyon Events Organization Kite Fest meeting. They are moving forward with the project. They found a new chair for the event this year. And committee members from the past are stepping up to help out in the transition, so I think it's gonna be a very well-attended event this year. There are gonna be some big changes coming place, but they are always looking for more volunteers, so if you're interested in helping out, please reach out. They do have a social media presence for Lyon Events Organization, and they also have a website, so if you're interested in volunteering and helping making sure that's a great event, please reach out to them. It always happens the very first weekend of June. It happens at Atchison Park back here, and they average around 6,000 visitors a year. So it's a very important economic factor in our community and a good signature project for the area. We're also working on, internally, I've been working on finalizing some 2025 reports to share with the board. Usually we have some numbers, information, and infographics that we share that goes over the number of businesses that are involved, the number of volunteers and hours. So we'll have that available in the next couple of years to share with you. Another thing that I wanted to make you aware of is, as I do sit in on planning commission meetings and township board meetings, I have heard all of the public comments that have been going on regarding transparency issues. It has been recommended or requested that all of the meetings are broadcast. And I did reach out to the same vendor that broadcasts the township board meetings, and I have a quote for that service. So if that's something that the board would like to move forward with and start broadcasting our meetings, we could make a motion to allow me to contact that company and enter into a contract to start broadcasting all those meetings moving forward. Do you want the motion now, or are you finished? I got just, okay. No, that was my last one actually, so yeah, you can go ahead with the motion. Yes, I would make a motion to record all of the DDA meetings going forward, through video and.
All meetings.
We only have the authority to approve it within our budget.
We're working on all that. We're working on every meeting. We'll get it in.
They are getting quotes for the township too.
I have to go through each board and ask for them.
I think we have a motion on our board and we have a second, correct?
Yeah. Second. Yeah.
Right, just in transparency, this makes me very uncomfortable to be on camera, so, I mean, it's what people want, like, we're gonna go for the motion, but I'm a volunteer and I didn't volunteer to be on TV, but.
And I do want to specify, because we are talking about budgets and dollar numbers and everything else, the quote that came through from me, or to me, was $295 per meeting, so I don't know if you want to add on to the motion a price limit or not to exceed once we get this officially in contract form, or if you just want me to get a contract to bring back at the next board meeting for approval. I would say not to exceed 300, just keep it an even number. Yeah, I mean, this is what you're just sitting, we did, and I'm answering the public, I
Yeah.
apologize. We did not get other bids because we're working with the company that already owns all the equipment that's in this facility, and we would have to double up on the amount and purchase equipment up front, so that's the only reason we didn't go through a bid process. So.
So, real quick, the vacant buildings along Grand River, Westo and the other one east of, Grand River, is there a status on that?
I don't have a status update on if they have any interest. They've been marketing, but I don't have any interest that's been passed along to us at this point.
The motion was for you to just get a quote, correct?
Yes. No, I got a quote from him he quoted me at $295 per meeting, so I'm just asking for a motion to give me approval to sign a contract with him for a cost not to exceed $300 for recording.
Is it? Okay.
I second it.
And I second it.
You second.
Okay.
I just wanna say real quick, you guys, we went through all the fun stuff with our committees and all the really cool things we are doing in the community. I know you're here for other things, but we do some really amazing things, and I would love to invite everybody to volunteer for any of these committees that we have some cool stuff going on. So we would just love to have more of the community involved in that part of it and help us make more of an impact that we're already attempting to do. So that's my invitation to all of you. Thanks for being here.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Krista, I have a follow-up to Mike's question, actual answer,
Okay.
if it's okay. I wanna share that your meeting minutes of August 12th reflect that in my planners update, I did share about Project Flex. Shared that it was about 2 million square feet data center and battery storage, and then your next meeting was October 15th. Alexis reported in her planners update on the planning commission action in September. So I just wanted to put that on the record. Thank you.
And Chris, I don't think this is an extra, my next thing was the building department totals. I realized I forgot that, so just wanted to mention that too. So going back to December of 2025, since we had to cancel the January meeting, we did have, commercial additions in the district, totaling just about $40,000, and that was for Walmart. They did the EV chargers over at their location. For commercial alterations, we had an investment of just over $4 million, and that was coaxing machining. And they did their build out finally, which was just over 43,000 square feet for their location, and it's going to be about 6,000 square feet of office space and 36,000 of manufacturing and warehousing. And then for signage, we had South Hill Business Park signage, valued at about 30,000. And then, as always, for the township residential permits, we had, I believe, 6 building permits totaling, just over $1.8 million in construction value. And then for January of this year, we had a signage, there was an approval for, Cleese Court for a monument sign. And that's a new company that I was just made aware of that went in there that we'll be reaching out to, called Global Retool Group. And, then also in the residential again, in January, there were 10 permits, just over $3.4 million in value for construction. So, that was it.
Thank you. Okay, so, up next under new business, consideration to waive Wonder Jump rent fee for Costello location. Hi, Troy.
Hi.
Okay, everybody, this is Family Reunion. Troy Powell, owner of Wonder Jump, New Hudson resident for who knows how long. In September, I received a letter from Amy to vacate the building I've rented since April of 2015. And I would say thank you so much for allowing me to rent the building for so many years and at a great price, and also for 8 months notice to find a new location. were able, after several months of finding, searching, find a new location in Wixom, started to build out this week. And I would ask the township board to waive the balance of my rent each month, since I am paying rent on a new location. I would also like to note that, I have been paying the, DTE bill for the last 3 years, which includes, the, facility, the part of the warehouse that the, DDA rents for, storage. So, that's my ask.
I would make a motion to waive your, how many months do you have left?
I should be, I was asked to be, to locate or be out by, May 1st, I should be out by April 1st.
And
So I would say February or March.
so February, March, not April, just February, so 2 months?
2 months.
Okay, so I would make a motion to waive the last 2 months for Wonder Jump for their rental fee.
Are you sure of that though, or should we add April just to be safe?
Okay, that's good, okay.
Yeah, okay, so for 3 months.
And I'll
Yeah.
make sure I take your rocks and I'll give them a job.
Okay, good, yeah.
I will second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No discussion on it?
Yeah, discussion.
I have a question, what's the value of the, full transparency, what's the value of the?
What's he paying?
The rent, it was in our packet, $650.
I pay $650 a month.
Okay.
So we're looking at, we did 3 months, so $19.50.
Okay.
I apologize, who seconded that, was I?
I did.
Alright.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, so we'll take the vote again, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks,
Thank
Rob.
you, I appreciate it, and again, I
Thanks,
appreciate
Rob.
for
Good luck at
having
your
been
new
there for so
location.
long.
We're gonna miss you. Well, I know where to find you.
Yeah, you know, I live across the street from you.
Okay, the next item under new business is consideration, of a revocable letter up to permanent encroachment by Kari Dentistry on the DDA property located at 56405 Grand River Avenue, New Hudson, Michigan, for the purpose of constructing a driveway approach and authorizing the DDA, director to finalize the terms of a letter with the DDA attorney. Dr. Kari, would you like to come on?
And I can speak on some of it if you want me to, Dr. Carey.
Sure.
A memo was submitted with all of your packets tonight, just to make you aware. Dr. Kari purchased the location that you see listed up here. It used to be, Doggy Doo, I think was the last one, and then it was another shop before that. But she was looking at moving her dentistry office over here. And when site plans were submitted, she found out that there was some right-of-way conflict. She's getting some approval from Oakland County Road Commission, and they made the request that because of where her drive is located, it technically goes over into the front of the Costello property, which currently the DDA owns. So they were requesting that she reach out to the property owner, which would be the DDA, to get a letter waiving that interest in that would allow her to move forward with her plans and get those approved. So, there initially was an ask about purchasing that portion of land so that she could keep that moving forward. However, it's located in the right-of-way, so we don't have the ability to sell that portion of it, but we can at least grant this letter that just waives and gives her the ability to move forward with that project. So, the memo states some of that additional information. I just didn't want you to have to give the whole backstory to it, but if there's anything you wanna add at this time, you can feel free.
Yes, there is actual encroachment, original encroachment is removed and replaced by the green belt, as you see, and I had asked my architect to move the driveway initially, but he said there is an electric pole and it could be very hard to move and the neighbor is not impacted. The actual driveway is relocated to the property now. The encroachment is removed, but he was, still we want this, the road commission wanted the letter to move forward or an email, so, from the neighbor. So we could have an actual curb done.
I did have a question. I was trying to zoom in and manipulate these plans, on the computer, and I tried printing them as well, and I was having a hard time. This is the existing drive, that's already there, correct?
No, this is, the existing drive, I have it here. I brought a copy,
This is included in the existing, this would actually be turned into grassy area, so it would be reducing the size this way, but going out up here.
yeah. So that slanted line is the encroachment that would be removed, and the new driveway would be made, and it would fall entirely in my property, But still, the road commission wanted to be clear on that, and they want a letter to be granted by the neighbor. The curvature, as per Mr. Mark Mahajan, who drew this in the survey engineering, he says that when they enter and make an arc, it falls in front of the adjacent neighbor's property. That was his remark. But we had removed the encroachment and replaced by green lines in this, and he was stating that electric pole could be on the way, so he wanted to keep the driveway like that. Making this modification of removing the actual encroachment.
And there's not any issues from the planner standpoint?
No, the project was reviewed and approved for a site plan, and there was a variance granted, because of the non-conforming status of the building today. So this encroachment actually removes a non-conformity on your property, which is a good thing.
I don't see any downsides to it. It would help it.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, I guess we need a motion for that, or we'll just take it.
I'll make a motion to, consider the revocable letter of permanent encroachment by Dr. Carey on the DDA property at 56405 Grand River Avenue, for the purpose of constructing the drive approach and authorizing the DDA executive director to finalize the terms of the letter with the DDA attorney.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Good luck.
Thanks. Good luck. Thank you.
All right, up next under new business is election of the 2026 DDA Board of Directors positions. The current board positions are Chairperson Carissa Canfield, Vice Chairperson Elisa Gezzi, Secretary Dr. Paul Ruffin, Treasurer Patricia Hercon.
So we
will open the floor to nominations at this time.
are we doing each position at a time?
Yeah.
So we're just gonna open for chair right now, correct?
Okay.
You can do it as a block, or you could do it individually.
Okay.
Or it's your
We'll do
choice.
it individually.
I'll go ahead and open, the nominations for chairperson.
I nominate Carissa Canfield for, chairperson.
Do we need a second?
What? Do we need a second? Or we just
No,
nominate?
you're just,
Yeah, we
are
just-
there any other nominations?
Yeah, are there any other nominations for chairperson?
If not, you close the nomination.
Nominations
And
are
vote.
Okay.
Now we vote?
Now, all in favor for Carissa for chairperson?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, Carissa's the chairperson.
You're on camera, baby.
I'd like to open the nominations for vice chairperson.
I would like to nominate Mike Casey.
Any other nominations? Okay, all in favor of Mike Casey for vice chairperson? Aye. All opposed? Congratulations, Mike. All right, I will open nominations for the secretary.
I'd like to recommend that we stick with Paula as the secretary.
Any other nominations? All in favor to elect Dr. Paul Ruffin to secretary, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Congratulations, Paula. And nominations for the treasurer position.
I would like to nominate Elisa Gezzi for treasurer.
Any other nominations? All in favor for Alicia Guzzi for treasurer, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Congratulations, Lisa. At this time, we're gonna move to adoption of the 2026 DDA fiscal year budget. I think we have some discussion on that.
Yeah, I mean, just, if I'll just kind of speak openly here. I think my concern with the adoption of the 26 budget, I think that we should hold on our adoption as a board, until we have, Elisa, who's our newly elected treasurer, have an opportunity to review those with our DDA director, so we have a clear understanding of what we're actually adopting. As it currently stands, I think there's some concerns that we've all raised about just having a better understanding as to what funds are in there, how they're being allocated, before we move to adopt such a budget. So I make a motion that we table approving or adopting the 2026 budget.
Okay, yeah, and I would also, I don't know at what point we had this discussion, but, we need to be involved in this budget next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
So bringing this to us and showing us these numbers is, it's not acceptable. I mean, we're like wondering, what's this coming from?
We've had a conversation, I've talked with Deb, I've gotten your feedback, so we'll be requesting a budget workshop in probably May or June, so that we can sit together and come up with a detailed budget for next year.
Great, thank you.
Open to the public?
That would be open to the public, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I have a motion on the table. Any more discussion or second? Looking for a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Just a point. This budget has been approved already by the township board, and some of you are already aware of that, but
Yes.
just so all of you are aware of it, so whatever changes, whatever happens after this has been tabled, if there are changes, those would have to go back to the township board as well.
Yeah, okay.
So everybody knows.
Okay.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
The DDA calendar for 2026?
Yep, I submitted a copy to you of a detailed calendar which just plugs in all of the committee dates that have been submitted by the committee chairs, all of our meeting dates for the year, and then the events that were included in there also. I do recommend that at this time we look for, and I apologize, I'm shuffling through my papers, that we add in, as we just talked about, I think it's wise to set a date and time for, a detailed budget workshop. We don't need to do that now necessarily, but between now and the next meeting, I think everybody keep in mind what kind of timeline you would like for that, whether it's evening, morning, just get some ideas together, cause I would like to add that to our calendar, for this year too. So, but everything else on there should be updated with all the current information. So it's just a reference item, it doesn't need to be adopted by any means, it was just a point of reference for the board.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so the last item is the further discussion on that agenda.
Approval of the minutes and the consent agenda, which is,
Sorry.
pull the motion of the people or?
We pulled it for discussion, so at this point.
So we can have a discussion about how we want minutes to be done, is that where we're at?
Minutes done moving forward, and also you had mentioned that you felt there were items missing from this, so I would be taking recommendations of what you think needs to be added into this current draft minutes. So that we can.
Have the minutes for, December been destroyed yet, or has the recording?
No, the recording was submitted, as you may know, that Rose has stepped down, so April is now doing our minutes for us. She was given the recording for the December meeting, and this was an updated draft of the minutes based on her listening of the recording. So this is different from the ones that were submitted from Rose, but if you still feel like there are items missing, please let me know and we can get them adjusted, or I can share the individual recording if you want a refresher before you submit those, I can do that.
We can have access to the recording?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I can
That
share
would
that
really
link with
be
you.
great.
So if you would like between now and the next meeting, I can send that link out to you so that you can come to the March meeting with recommendations on what specifically to change in the draft minutes, and then we can get those.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Will do.
And can we, would recording the meetings serve, it wouldn't necessarily be recording the minutes, we still have to record, right?
Still, your adopted minutes are the official minutes of the meeting. It's just a question of whether you wanna retain tape recordings that are unofficial.
Yeah, I would suggest, I think because over the last 3 or 4 years, we've had a lot of questions on things that have been said that have not been recorded and we'd have to go back. I would like to, I don't know if it's a motion or a request about.
Since you've approved, now you're gonna be recording, video recording.
That's what I'm thinking, is that serving,
you know.
Yeah, those will be posted online through the township site, so those won't be destroyed, those will be.
Purpose.
So we don't have to retain the recording for a certain amount of time as long as we have the video. What's that?
I don't get to that instead.
Yeah, we won't be doing the recorder.
Okay.
At each meeting. April may to help her assist with creating the minutes, but again, after they're approved, that usually gets deleted, and again, we'll have a video recording moving forward though for reference, so that'll take care of that.
And what's the requirement for, legal retention of those records, since when we're talking about when we do the recordings?
Your videos?
Yeah.
I'd have to look at what, there's a state law.
Yeah, and then there's some sort of retention, it'd be helpful to know, I'm gonna check on the period. It'd be helpful to know what that retention limit is, just so we can, again, transparency.
But your minutes are kept.
May I
There's
request
no
that on
deletion.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead.
May I request that on the YouTube recordings, you enable the transcript option, so that people can read through the transcript that's available?
I think that would be a question for the team that will be doing that, but we can ask.
Thank you.
Yeah,
It is available for 24 hours.
Yeah, it's made available, but it usually takes 24 hours to go into effect on all the recordings, so if you go back into any older ones, you should have that ability too.
Are we recording today?
A video recording, we are not from the DDA, no.
So there is an issue of December's meeting recording ends today.
Yes,
If
and
we
we
start
have,
next time. So we would want to not destroy those 2 recordings.
That's what I'm
they
saying,
wouldn't
yeah.
they wouldn't be destroyed until minutes are approved.
I know, we don't want those
Okay.
to be destroyed
So
at
you want
all.
those retained.
For,
Okay.
what did we discuss, like 5, 10?
Until we start recording on video, we want these
Okay.
retained.
Indefinitely.
And yeah.
Okay.
At this point.
Thank you.
I think we have the consent agenda issue. So we're gonna work on the minutes, right?
Yeah.
We're tabling the minutes.
I think we're just gonna table the consent agenda.
Well, I think just with the consent agenda, one thing that, one thing that I'd like to, just to address is that I think this would be a lot simpler for us if we had fixed costs and then variable costs. If we can we separate that out, you know, or even just, you know, like what are our fixed costs every month? Because then like our consultants, that's gonna vary, but what can we expect each and every month as a baseline, so that when we see this number, 13,000, we know that, oh, okay, 8,000 of it is fixed. We know we gotta pay the bills, and we've got payroll, and we've got that kind of stuff.
Honestly, there is very little that is a fixed cost, and again, this is moving forward, we're gonna work together to create a process, because the consent agenda has never included my salary included in there, or anything like that. It's just billable, so check requests that I process, the credit card receipts, everything like that, and that is very seasonal dependent. If we're doing lighting up the Grand, there's a lot that's included in there. Previously, we had our contractor that did our social media for us, that was a fixed expense.
our DTE and consumers bills were fixed, but again, they vary in cost. But almost everything else was, varied. It all depends on what events we run, what projects we're running. I can't get you too much of an estimate on that, unless I have something from each committee member giving me a projected budget and the time of year that those would be spent. But I can do my best and we can sit down, I'd gladly sit down with the organizational committee or the full board if we wanna go into detail, so I know what's expected, so I can make sure that I'm getting you the information requested. Okay, I mean, I hear what you're saying, I just am like, what is fixed, what's variable, so if everything we do is variable, then we just have to have better eyeballs on this. Yeah.
I think doing the budget workshop
Yeah.
is gonna help that, and we're gonna have a clear idea of what's happening on a monthly basis.
Yeah, having a hand in the budget workshop, and then even having the budget number as a declining balance against each one of these line items.
Right.
As we approve each month.
Yeah, I think we our current, we don't have any of that visibility today, so I think we're somewhat blindly approving certain items. So I think just having that budget workshop.
Yeah, absolutely, and this was the first time that you guys have seen the detailed budget too, so hopefully you're able to go through that with a fine tooth comb and really realize what expenses are under each account. I think that'll be helpful to moving forward, so. For sure. Absolutely.
Do we have anything else pertinent for today's meeting?
So just for a point of clarification, I know that we're tabling the minutes, are we also tabling the consent agenda for
Do we need a
next
motion
meeting
for that?
or?
Did we do a motion?
You had your disbursements were on the consent agenda too.
Yeah, that's what I wanna
Okay.
make sure, it's not just the minutes, but we're tabling, cause they had mentioned tabling the minutes, but we're tabling the consent agenda, which includes the minutes and the disbursement, both items. Correct? Okay, that's what I wanna.
Is that, we need a motion for that, Doug?
Yeah, we do.
So, I'd like to make.
Just realizing you're not paying your December and January bills, or is that what's on, those are both on the consent agenda?
Yeah.
Are there items that are in jeopardy of getting canceled? I see social media on here and things like that. If they don't get paid, are they gonna cancel us?
No.
Yeah, I think adding to your motion, if we can get a reporting of anything that's critical, keep doors open, lights on, that those get brought to the board for approval.
Okay.
If the rest of the board is okay with that.
So we haven't made a motion.
I think the motion is we're gonna table the consent agenda, and, the DDA director is gonna come back with any essential items to be approved prior to our next meeting.
Okay. That's the motion? Is that a motion?
That was a motion.
Did you
Okay.
include both the minutes and the consent agenda?
I did not. So that would be including both the minutes and the consent agenda.
Okay. We good? Okay.
Are we good?
We good, Deb?
Did we forget
Okay.
something?
Yeah, unless
hear
the
support
whole
for the
board is
motion.
meeting.
No, not yet, we just wanna make sure the motion is good and then we can.
I
The
think-
motion's good, yes.
Okay.
You're tabling both, there were two items on the consent agenda. You
Mhm.
wanna table both of them.
So-
The consent agenda and the minutes.
Yeah, the
But,
minutes.
but both consent agendas, yes.
Oh,
Both
right.
items under
December and
consent,
January.
yes. Am I reading that wrong? I mean, it's.
The
two-
December 2025 and the January 2026 consent agendas, as
Yeah.
well as the December minutes.
Right.
Are
You're
being
tabling
tabled.
all those items.
Correct.
How would approval work though without a board meeting? Like maybe we need to appoint a person that Amy gets approval from instead of, or are we holding another meeting? If there's immediate action.
Yeah, I think for anything that requires immediate action that, Amy's gonna be identifying, I think that we bring that to the chairperson.
Okay, that's
For
what
approval.
that's what I was clarifying.
Okay. I mean, is it possible to just pull some of these consent agenda items and then, we've got like Dolson School, the holiday market, do we wanna dive into that we've got some events, we do have Angie and Rose.
It would be helpful from my perspective if you could just, the ones that you know you don't have any questions, if you could approve so those payments could get out. And then if it's with our contractors that you're wanting specifications, those payments haven't been mailed out, so we can easily hold those types of things. But the other ones, I would want to be able to move to get, you know, the last payment for the minutes, the social media contracts, the displays, everything associated with lighting up the Grand, the community schools, and the credit cards, which were all utilized for either membership subscriptions or lighting up the Grand at this point.
Okay, so I would then make a motion to pull items 1 through 6 from the consent agenda of December. Can I recommend 3 through 6?
Yeah, you got consumer DDA.
Oh, yes, sorry. Yes, 3 through 6. And then, for December, and then, you know, DTE consumers, 3 and 4. And then 3 and 4 in January, and then approve the rest of the consent agenda. But for December and January.
Okay, can we get support for that?
Yeah, I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I will make a motion to adjourn the DDA board meeting on Tuesday, February 10th, I need a weekend.
I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're out of here.
Whatever.